there's something particularly happening with so many of you, and it's what I call the shifting of time, the flexibility of time. Have you noticed that at times, time goes very, very fast? When you think you have an hour or so to do something, to get somewhere, it just goes by so quickly. And you wonder to yourself, were you even there? Were you present? Were you in your body? Were you maybe out in another dimension? No, not any more so than normal. But for those who are coming into their mastery, time loses its rigidity. And have you noticed that whether it's going too fast or too slow, it's always the most inconvenient in your life? If you're in a hurry, it seems to go way too fast. If you're bored, you don't have anything to do, it goes way too slow. That is one of the great indicators that something is happening at both a biological level and a mental level with you. You're shifting and changing. Not for the worse, not at all. Actually, your next step is finding that time becomes a friend rather than a foe. It also gives you a feeling of disorientation, as most of you have felt from time to time, not being locked into that anymore. You suddenly start realizing that this whole concept of a linear life, what I call local linear, of this progression of hours, minutes, days, years, suddenly was a great big illusion. The only thing I would ask you is not to resist it, not to, as you would say, freak out when suddenly time is different than what the mind wants it to be, to not get so constipated that you have to try to get back to time. You suddenly become timeless, and timelessness is also tremendous freedom. Oh, the next question I have to ask is, well, what's your story? You get caught in these concepts of yourself, and then you believe they're true. You have experiences that have happened in your earlier years of your life, and you think that's what happens, and then you're suddenly in a rut. It's dreary, like these processing counseling sessions, or everybody sits around talking about their dreary lives. My God, I wish somebody would stand up and say, I got a story. I got a great story. Here I was, a lost angel. Here I was on this planet Earth in this physical body, which I detest to this day. I can't stand this body. Here I was, so traumatized by the energies of people all around me, so vicious, so vile, so threatening. They would steal not only your blood and your money, but your very soul if they could. What did I do? I resorted to drowning myself in drink. I became an alcoholic. Yes, I was abusive to my family. I lost my job and I lost all my money. But you know, someone has to dive into the deepest, darkest despair. Somebody has to see how deep and low the abyss is, and that's what I did with my Jack Daniels. If there's any point I can get across today with the coming out of the book, is every life is a story. Every life is a beautiful story. And so often you get caught in the details. You get caught in the dullness of the story. You get caught in the drama and the negativity. You get caught in trying to get out of your story, punch your way out. Or you think you're just going to change the story by thinking it different, and that doesn't happen. Take a deep breath right now and be your story. As you get out of the rut of your story and you have fun with your story now, you liberate yourself enough to have fun with your story. As you allow enlightenment into your lifetime right now, it changes every lifetime. You're not doing it for just this lifetime. It changes every lifetime, past and future. There are past lifetimes, past stories that are so stuck right now, that are just, that's going on right now, is they're repeating their stories. It's kind of like a sci-fi movie, science fiction. They're just repeating their stories over and over. Calder's telling me there's some new television series about this kind of Westworld. And the constant repetition of the story, that's actually true, because your past lives, even though they're dead, are still cycling through their story time and time and time again. Future lives, same way. They get stuck in these cycles and they keep a repetitive pattern. You can feel it to a degree. It's in you. You feel it. And it has an effect on this lifetime, because then in this lifetime you start doing the same thing, repeating those patterns. Patterns of abuse, patterns of lost hope, patterns of trying to find the answers. And you got all these kind of wheels spinning from the past and the future. They're all locked in their story. The one thing unique about this story right here, this lifetime, is that you're here to unlock those, to free them. It takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes a lot of courage because you step out of old patterns. You defy the patterns of the mind, patterns of mass consciousness. But when you do, when you change this story, you change all the rest of the stories. Every past life that is going, it's just repeating, it cycles. Same players, the same everything, over and over and over. It doesn't end upon death. The stories keep just repeating. But when there is one story that rises above the rest, one you that says no more, then you realize that it's just a story. And you realize that you can make it anything you want. And you also start to realize that in changing this story, it changes the story of every other lifetime that are actually all happening right now. It all changes. That is enlightenment.